Hi, Jeremy Young here from AtomOS. We're here to show you the new 6.4 update. We know you've been patient. We promised a 6.3 in May, beginning of June, and that actually went into 6.4. And the reason for that is we've been working hard on making sure that the raw implementation for the FS700 and FS7, which many customers have been waiting for, really hits the mark, and we believe we've done that. So right now you can download our 6.4. Now what does 6.4 give you? Well, there are 8 new features and a lot of work has gone into it. Everything from Genlock, playlist, right through to anamorphic and the raw and many other features which I'm going to run through for you now. So the first feature I want to show you is the very impressive 4K upgrade for the FS700 coming from the raw output of the camera. So here I have 4K DCI P30 and I'm going directly to ProRes. Remember, we're not recording Cinema DNG yet on the camera. That will come in a future update on the Shogun. We're going directly to ProRes, which means we're going to a video format. So we're coming in RAW, which is linear RAW, which is what you see here. And I've got the camera set to S-Log2 in my picture profile. Doesn't matter which picture profile you choose, just make sure you go into the settings on that picture profile and make sure that it's outputting S-Log2. So this is what you see on the screen here. 2 things to be aware of on the monitoring side. First one is, this is a 4096 image being displayed as a 3840 image. However, we can scroll from left to right and see the edges that are not displayed on the screen there. We can also center it back to the middle so that you know that you're in that 3840 range. But what we are recording is 4096. So we are recording 4096, we're displaying 3840, and you can scroll left and right to see the sides of the image. All the normal functions are available, including waveform, peaking, and all the monitor assist functions, as well as the second thing that's really important, which is 3D LUTs. We're going to go in and do the first part of the setup. Here is my raw gamma setting, S-Log3, S-Log2. We're coming in as S-Log2. So now I've set that up. I'm already on the input, making sure that the gamma coming in is being read by the Shogun correctly. Now I want to go in and set up my LUT. What we include on the 6.4 firmware is LUTs. I'm just deleting that setting number 3, and I'm going to pick one of the built-in LUTs. I can have a bunch of LUTs on the disk, like these LUTs, boom, or the built-in ones which we give you inside the firmware. So 6.4 has these LUTs inside it. Canon C-Log, V-Log for Panasonic, and FS-RAW S-Log2 to Rec 709, as well as FS-RAW S-Log3 to Rec 709, and I'll talk about S-Log3 in a minute. So I'm going to choose FS-RAW to S-Log2, and I've just loaded that into number 3. It's now my current LUT. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on the LUT, and that gives me a half LUT, so you can see the differences between the two. Very convenient. I can get rid of my overlay and have a look at the image and scroll around, center it again. Very nice. Come back in, I can put the full LUT on. If I'm using it in this way, what I'm recording is the linear RAW from the camera. So this LUT is not applied to the recording, but I can monitor it like this. But remember, that's going to go to ProRes, so probably not the best idea. The best idea, unless you want to apply curves after in ProRes, which is not going to give you the same latitude that you have if you record RAW, and then in Cinema DNG, and then apply after. So we're going directly to ProRes. So for 80 to 90% of customers who want to finish in ProRes, this is the best workflow, the one that we're offering here. So I'm going to put my LUT on, which I have on. You can see I've got my LUT on. Now I'm choosing that I want to record it. I come back in here and I need to turn on in record my 3D LUT. Recording mode. Now you can see it's very obvious that we are recording the monitor LUT that we've put on, and we're burning that in to the recording into a ProRes file. So now I'm very happy with that. I can also come in and turn that on and off, but I won't be recording it. If I come back in and I turn it on, I am recording it. I do want to record this because it's a much better looking image. I've set the shot up correctly. I can come in and look at my waveform monitor. I can change my levels here up and down, make sure I'm not blowing out, and I get the right level there. And I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to hit record on the camera. I've set up my trigger already, which is also displayed in here. I'm going for a Sony trigger. I'm going to hit record. So now I'm recording. I'm recording raw directly to ProRes with the S-Log2 LUT applied. I'll hit stop on the camera, and then I'm going to come in and hit play. And we are playing back that exact footage that I just recorded. You see my hand waving through there. Very nice ProRes image. Cycle through there, and that's my clip. So I've just recorded raw to ProRes with a perfect LUT applied. You can also do other LUTs, but be careful because you're definitely changing the structure of the color from the raw to ProRes. I mentioned S-Log3. Now, what we're receiving from the camera is a linear raw signal. So I'm going to go and turn that LUT off. This is my S-Log2 linear. Now, what we've worked out is that what we're getting from the camera, we can adjust on the way in, and there's the ability to now come in, choose S-Log3, and you'll notice the image is a bit more washed out because the curve of S-Log2 and S-Log3 are significantly different, and they give you different results. However, from the FS700 set up as S-Log2 from the camera, we can apply an S-Log3 on the input, and then we can come in and we can change our LUT to be FS raw S-Log3 to Rec 709. I can turn that LUT on, and now I'm recording an S-Log3 to Rec 709, which is a slightly different conversion, and now I'm viewing that from an FS700. That also works for FS7 users. So very, very nice feature that we can do either S-Log2 or S-Log3 from the FS700, and we can do S-Log2 or 3 from the FS7 also. So now I'm going to record that LUT. My monitor LUT is on there, and I'm going to hit record, and I'm recording S-Log3 to Rec 709. And that is raw. The next thing we're going to look at is pre-roll, which I've shown you once before, but I just want to go over it again because it's new in this firmware. There's my pre-roll there, telling me that I've got 8 seconds for HD and 2 seconds for 4K. So pre-roll works in all modes as well, including the raw mode. Very cool feature. I love the pre-roll. Time-lapse. One of the very cool features that the engineers came to us with and said, you know, I think we could do this, is time-lapse. Very creative part of video production, has traditionally been used on photography cameras. However, we think we've added a whole nother dimension to video time-lapse. So when you come in to the input page, you can then go to time-lapse, and you're setting up lots of different settings here. So if I go in and say, I've got capture 1 frame every 1 frame for a recording time of 1 frame, and that equals a duration of 1 frame. So if I now want to go in and adjust that, then I can come in here and I can say capture how many frames. I'm going to capture 5 frames. And I'm going to capture 5 frames every, I'm going to change that to minutes, every 10 minutes. And I'm going to capture 5 frames every 10 minutes for how many hours? Maybe 1 hour, which I've got sitting there. If I now go back and, oh, I don't want to pause. I'm going to go back, hit OK. I've set my first line of time lapse. I'm going to add another line and do 2 frames. I'm going to do 2 frames every 5 seconds for 15 minutes. And that will give me 12 seconds of record time. That's my second line. And I'm going to add one more line, and I'm going to do capture 1 minute of footage every 5 hours for 24 hours. And that's going to give me 5 hours of recording. So very simple, easy to understand. Again, we've worked really hard on the user interface, as we always do, to try and make it as simple as possible to set these things up. And now I've got 3 different time lapse set up. I can do a smooth transition between them, or I can schedule a starting time here and go in and schedule, I'm going to start at 5 o'clock. 5:30 in the morning. Okay, so what have I got here? I'm starting at 5:30 in the morning. My first time lapse is 5 frames every 10 minutes for an hour. My second one is 2 frames every 5 seconds for 15 minutes. And then my third one is 1 minute every 5 hours for 23 hours. I've got a smooth transition ramping between them, and I'm ready to go. So I'm going to turn on my time lapse, and then I would hit record. And you can see here that my time lapse is now waiting to start. And it's 8:24 in the evening here. And you can see that now I'm waiting for it's not recording, so it's going to wait until that 5:30 in the morning tomorrow morning to kick off. So now I've set up all my sequence. I've realized that the play time of 1 second over here is not quite long enough. I'd like 2 seconds. And we have put in a feature where you can auto-calculate backwards. So if I touch on that and click on the play time, then I want to change this to 2 seconds. Now everything else, it's 5 frames for 5 minutes in 1 hour. So I've just adjusted the length of time I end up with. Because sometimes you'll say I need to fill 5 seconds, or I need to fill a minute of footage. And you might end up with the sequence you calculated or you tried, you might end up a little bit under that or a little bit over that. You can make sure you nail exactly how long you want that time-lapse sequence to be. That's time-lapse. Expanded metadata tagging. So what we've done, let me go into play something here. So I'm going to play our AtomOS footage. I'll take my LUT off that I had on before, so it looks nice. Now, while I'm playing here, I often want to scrub through the footage. So I've just finished my shoot, just finished this take, and I want to go in and tag the footage. So obviously I can fast forward, rewind, do all the normal transport functions. So when I come in here, you can see we've added 10 of new metadata tags. Now these will export directly into Final Cut X. It's Final Cut XML 1.4. And what we can do here is my in point and out point, same as always, so I can do my normal favorite and a green tag, or I can now adjust to another section and put talent 1 in and out. So now I've got talent 1 tagged in there. I can say I've got some bad audio at the end of the clip, and I can tag that. I can also do this in record while I'm on the fly. So if you hear some bad audio, you can tag bad audio and then go and find it later. So all of these will be available for keyword searching. And that's the first step of our expanded metadata tagging, which then carries right through to Final Cut. And then you can also transfer that across to Adobe or Avid with the right tools that convert from Final Cut X XML across to the relevant XML that you need for those packages or other packages. So that's metadata tagging, very convenient. We've included wide shot, cutaway, close-up, bad audio, color correct this, exposure, overexposure, talent 1 and talent 2. So that will give you a lot more tagging capability inside the Shogun. So I'm back in my playback area, and I've just finished my shoot. I've tagged my clips, and I'd like to play my favorites back only, so I can see them all together, like a rough cut for the people on set. I can also plug that into a big TV so people can watch it on set while you've got everyone there. Is the best time to decide whether you've got the shot or not, or you want to add another scene in there. So what I do is I come into my playlist, and there's a little button down here called playlist. And so I touch on the playlist, and there's multiple ways to play them. First of all, I can adjust the order up and down, which way, when I tag them, which way I'm going to play them back. I'm going to go from top to bottom. I can tag here whether I'm going to do favorites, whether I'm going to do just the selected ones, or I'm going to do both favorites and the selected ones. What the selected and favorites difference is, selected means the whole clip, favorites means just the cut inside the clip, and I can combine these together in any order or just do favorites or just do selected. So I'm going to do a combination of a few here. I've got a combined there. This tells you which format that you're actually choosing the files for. So if I adjust this to 4K, now I've got my 4K clips, because we don't want to play back multiple clips of different frame rates in one, because then we could have a 60 clip with a 50 clip. That doesn't make sense at all. So you need to choose the format, and usually people are working in one format. I've got multiple HD and 4K formats on here, so I had to choose 4K to make sure I chose the right one. When there's an X next to it, that means it's a different format and it can't be in my playlist. So if I come down, I've got another one down here, my anamorphic shot, which I'm going to select. So I've got a favorite, I've got my selection, and then I want to hit play. So I'm playing my anamorphic, and my next clip will be the favorite that I tagged. So they're playing in sequence together. So that's a very powerful function. I can choose any clip, the whole clip. I can choose the favorite in the clip. And as we move forward, we'll be adding things like, please play back all of Talent 1. Please play back all of those new metadata features that are in there. Right now we can't do that, but we'll be adding that as we go. So some powerful features in playback and playlist. Remember, this becomes basically a playout server on set. A very simple playout server on set. A producer can do this, a director can do this, a customer can do this, or you, the actual cameraman, can do it and then play it out for the client so that they can see what their footage is going to look like. Very convenient feature. Genlock. Genlock's a very important feature, especially for playback and play out. So you can play out and Genlock into your current infrastructure. Some people ask me, why don't you have Genlock for the cameras? Well, actually, you need to Genlock your cameras. We are obviously recording from cameras, and so you need to have the cameras Genlocked, and then we will be Genlocked. So we don't have a Genlock. We have a Genlock input for play out and playback. So I come into my output page, and I can, if I had a Genlock signal here, then I could turn Genlock on. There's no input here for Genlock, so I'm not doing that. However, here is where I can do things like 3D LUT on and off, HDMI timecode pushing out, and I've got my Genlock signal there that I've turned on. I don't have a signal here, but if it was on, when I hit play, I'd be Genlocked into the entire system. So that's a very convenient feature, and our Shogun Studio also has this feature, which will be obviously much more used in a studio environment. Anamorphic, the big buzz at NAB this year, and the reason is that there's a lot of affordable lenses coming out in anamorphic, and also Panasonic added a really cool feature to their very popular GH4. We've sold a lot of Shoguns with them. So we decided to implement their anamorphic D-squeeze. Now, what they've done is there's a mode inside the camera, which I've turned on already, which is their 4:3 sensor mode. So they're in photo mode, they're 4:3. In video mode, they're 16:9. So they go to the photo mode 4:3, but in video mode, and they do an anamorphic squeeze on it. And what we do is de-squeeze it so you can see it like it will be when you de-squeeze it in post-production. So, how do we do that? This is actually with the anamorphic on. If I turn the anamorphic off, it's all squeezed. Doesn't look very good. But it gives you a really nice image when you de-squeeze it, just like the cinema guys like to do. De-squeeze. And now I have a really nice image. So we have Panasonic 2x at 4:3, which is a special mode because it actually ends up at 8:3. We've got a 2x for normal anamorphic. So any camera with anamorphic lenses with a 2x lens, you can de-squeeze. 1.5x and 1.3. So these are very cool older lenses, 1.3s, lots of them out there, 1.5s, lots of them out there. They're usually very old lenses. There's some new ones coming out for some pretty cool young companies, and they're very affordable. And so why did Panasonic do this? Well, they did it so that you can get that cinema look and you can integrate with higher end cameras like ARRI footage, and it's going to look exactly the same. So very cool feature. That's now available as of today in AtomOS 6.4. So I'd like to show you the new AtomOS Shogun Armor, which is the protective case for the very light and portable Shogun. Some people were worried that when they dropped their Shogun that it would just smash into pieces. Well, it's actually much stronger than that. However, it is a good point to try and protect your screen, just like you protect your screen on your phone. You don't want to drop it and break it, and anything you can do to protect that and not have to buy a new one is a good thing. So we've designed this bumper case. So basically, it's a very tough, robust bumper that covers all the back of the Shogun, and there's a little stand there as well, so that when you put it on the table, you can use it. So that's the bumper, the Shogun armor, which stops it from being damaged when you drop it. The next thing is a screen protector, which we've made for the Shogun, which gives you a matte finish, so there's less reflections, and also diffuses the light in a way that makes sure that your polarized sunglasses can still see the screen and that you're not interfering with the polarization of the actual panel. We also give you a travel case in the promotional pack. And so for a limited time, that promotional pack will be given away with every Shogun purchase. So you get around $250 worth of value, $240 worth of value. And current customers who have already bought a Shogun can get 50% off that. So you can get half price on the pack. The carry case, the bumper, and the screen protector. So pretty good value from AtomOS. We really want you guys to be happy. We keep improving the operating system, we keep improving the accessories surrounding it, and we'll continue to do so, especially while we've got so many amazing customers sending us footage and thanking us for making the product. You inspire us to continue, and we will make sure that we deliver more and more inside your Shogun.